What is that mix between imports and domestic production of lumber? How does the supply side?
Yeah, great question. So, for softwood lumber, around somewhere around a third of domestic consumption in the U.S. comes from abroad. Most of that comes from Canada.
What is the reaction time for U.S. domestic production to ramp potentially to offset some of that?
A long time.
Yeah.
It's not, we actually wrote a viewpoint on this because it was this big question, right? With all these looming tariffs, what was going to happen? Why don't we use them? Which, that is true that, the U.S. is relatively abundant in timber, particularly softwood timber, which is used for residential construction. The problem is everything around the softwood timber, between the mill infrastructure, the staffing, trucking, loggers, like logging, that's an industry that, from a headcount perspective has been in secular decline. So, even if we are able to kind of tap our domestic resources between getting over all the environmental hurdles, and a lot of that softwood timber, especially in the Pacific Northwest, is on state and federal lands, even if you can tap into that, you're not going to replace that, 25 to 30% of supply that comes from Canada. That would take, based on our analysis, at least a decade. And that's, probably under pretty optimistic conditions, I would say.
Wow.
So.